You're such an asshole.
AssholeConsulting.com. Oh, we gotta make sure that we get the Google editors and censors. A shady fact, a shady fact. How do you do? How do you do? A shady fact, a shady fact. South Park reference. All right, AssholeConsulting.com. Go there. You want thing? Give me money. Blah blah blah. Hi, Aaron. Cappy. I know you don't normally get requests pertaining to religion, but I got one. I understand that you were raised in a Catholic household. It was Lutheran. I'll therefore assume you know the Bible better than I do. Probably. I've come across an organization called Gathering of Christ Church, a Black Hebrew Israelite Church. They believe that various minority groups around the world, including African Americans, Native Americans, and African Caribbeans, make up the 12 tribes of Israel, and that expulsion by the Romans and later enslavement by the Americans and Brits were all part of biblical prophecy. They also believe in not one but two judgments 1,000 years apart. These are just two examples of how their beliefs differ from mainstream Judeo-Christianity. Of course, this requires the denial of mainstream history that white Ashkenazi Jews are the true heirs of the Holy Land, but what's worth noting is that they include Apocrypha, the 14 books removed from the Bible by the Catholic and Orthodox churches in their teaching. This is kind of cool to research. It took me some time to research this, and normally I don't research that much, but now I was like, oh, you can download the Apocrypha. You can listen to it, well, it's on YouTube, but you can convert it to MP3. And I listened to a bunch of documentaries. It says the history of the black Jews. I'm like, and it was totally mistitled. It was nothing about it. It was about the veracity of the Bible and the Dead Sea Scrolls and all this other stuff. So I got like a Sunday school lesson in spades. We already know that organized religion has been and continues to be used as a financial and political tool by those running it. Hebrew Israelites are obviously not in a position to do that, so these guys have a more accurate interpretation of the Bible than Christians and theologians. If so, is the Bible a big lie? Okay, well, let's go through what these guys are. Pretty much as the Clint explains, and it's wide and varying and ranging. These are not Jews, practicing Jews, who just happen to be black, like, say, Sammy Davis Jr. He was black and he converted to Judaism. These are what could literally be called a cult, except a cult is kind of... it's splinter group, not authentic, where they believe that, Native Americans and African Caribbeans and the Africans were separate tribes of the 12 tribes of the Jews, and then they were shipped off overseas, and it's kind of even hard to pin this down because there's no central authority on the Black Hebrew Israelites. It was started, the earliest origins of it, or the proto-origins of it, was after the Civil War. Then it goes, and then somebody restarts it up again. Then there was a guy, World War I era, like the 19-teens. And then it's just, they estimate roughly 200,000 Black Hebrews, but they say, well, that could actually just be legitimate Jews, practicing Jews who just happen to be black. So then they estimate that the Black Hebrew Israelite Church, who believe that they came over the ocean and they were disbanded by the Romans and were one of the 12 original tribes, around 50,000. And if you ever, I've never ran into any one of these people. If you ran into one of them, they're typically on street corners, spewing whatever it is they spew. But unless you stick around, you probably would think, it's just another crazy Christian guy, and Jesus saves, and the world is ending, and stuff like that. So this is a very fringe group, and I wouldn't say authentic or legitimate or anything. So you want to know, so do these guys have a more accurate interpretation of the Bible than Christians and theologians? If so, is the Bible a big lie? Well, those are two separate questions. Do they have a more accurate interpretation of the Bible than Christians and theologians? No, they do not. Because the Bible, the Bible as it is, excludes the Apocrypha. It's the however many books that are in the Bible. And so the authority on the Bible would be, your Catholics, your Protestants, and anything else in between. And so they had the Council of Nicaea, or was it the Council of Nicaea? That was the Nicene Creed. I think the Council of Nicaea determined these are the books, this is what we believe, henceforth from 500 AD on, this is Christianity. And then Martin Luther came and says, hey, I'm going this way. And that's the history of Christianity, like, in that much. So, no, that it's kind of the reverse, where it's like, no, the practicing Christians, they determine what the Bible is because that's their book. Now, does that mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that those practicing other religions or outside of that religion wouldn't have a more accurate interpretation. But no, what I in the research, because it kind of made me curious, I'm like, okay, well, what's their evidence? You know, what questions in, or what passages in the actual Bible or the Apocrypha do the Hebrew Israelites claim is like the evidence that yes, they were the Israelites, the Jews were black and Native American or whatever else, and then they were expunged and sent out and ostracized overseas, and then the Brits and the Americans took them over. The evidence is like these three passages. One is which of saying, oh, you will be enslaved and you will be sent over water. Well, that was referring, if I did the chronology correctly, to the Jews, that they would be enslaved via Joseph, technically, if you want to go back to your Bible history, to be enslaved over the Mediterranean to Egypt. Not over the Atlantic, where the Native Americans apparently came from, according to this doctrine. And then there were two other ones, but as is with everything in the Bible, they were really grasping for straws. They were really reaching on this one to derive this completely different interpretation of the Bible and come up with this Hebrew Israelite philosophy or theory or religion. And so out of all you put the Bible and the Apocrypha together, and you're going to take these three passages and go, well, it tells me that that's the dog, the tail wagging the dog, or the cart before the horse. And so what it more likely is it's people, tribalism, grabbing onto something to give themselves some kind of agency, value, purpose, something to look forward to, capturing their own religion. And so, and you've seen this before, like, oh, environmentalism, going vegan. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegetarian. I'm with PETA. You see that in high school. Oh, I'm an anarchist. I'm a Marxist. The kid wearing the trench coat who's 17 thinks he's really cool. I'm a social justice warrior. I'm taking on this crusading cause. And in the black community, you have like the Hoteps, you know, the we was Kangs thing where, hey, the Egyptians were black. And it's like, no, they weren't. And even if they were, that ain't you. That's 5,000 years ago. There's another obscure one, Black James. He occasionally sits in on the Beckloff podcast. And he's black. That's why they call him Black James. To differentiate him from British James, who, if you couldn't tell, has a fucking accent. Anyway, Black James, I was listening to one, but he's talking about this. This is a cult. And this isn't even a religion, but there's it can't be more than 1,000. Please don't say it's more than 1,000. But there's this group of blacks who believe, or I don't think they really believe, they just act, they want to believe it, that, what was it? That blacks they're the only real humans, and whites and Asians are aliens that have come in to enslave the blacks. And we're not, the whites, this is crazy, the whites and the Asians are not fighting, are not on the same team. They're two separate alien races, and there's battleships in space fighting. So the whites and the Asian in space are having this intergalactic battle. In the meantime, we're fighting over Earth, and the blacks are the only true humans. And then there's always a savior, a salvation, or a judgment day that's coming. So these fantastic lies, dreams. Delusions. I think that's a better word. These are delusions. Like, we was Kangs, we were in charge of Egypt, and everything was great. And then it's like we had slavery in Egypt. So then everyone says, there would be no slavery. It's like, wait a minute, were you the first slave masters then? If blacks were Egyptians, never mind. But it's basically a group of people, and this isn't relegated to blacks, I don't think it's because everyone does this. They reach for something because their lives suck. And so they can reach to the past, they can co-opt a religion, they can come up with completely, Scientology. I like to figure out, what is the average person that goes and believes in that shit? These are people who are reaching for something to give their otherwise ordinary, boring, unfulfilled lives some kind of meaning or value. That's the impression I got with them. And I saw some pictures where they're donned in crazy get-ups, not like Guar, if you've ever seen the band, but robes and stuff that probably hasn't been worn in the past 3,000 years. And I'm kind of like, dude, just put on some jeans. It's what's in here and up here. That's what are you? The Pope, I think, even wears a funny hat. I don't get, but when it's dress-up time, then I start to wonder, I wonder, it almost takes on an eerie feel of LARPing, or it's cool when you're younger, but then when you realize, you see, oh, that's a little weird. The Renaissance Festival, the people that dress up and never get out of character, it's kind of like that. It's a little weird, but it's certainly, that doesn't mean you're living in 1200s England. It just doesn't mean that. And so I think the much more likely explanation is I remember another guy, he was a teacher, happened to be black. And he totally, he didn't believe it, but he was totally adamant that blacks discovered South America first and North America first, long before Leif Erikson. And I'm just looking at the guy, and I'm like, really? He's like, oh yeah, they found this. And so what a lot of people will do is grasp for anything. And I remember I was a sober cab, and we were kind of friends. And we went from one bar to the next, and I dropped him off. And here he is. He's a teacher, or was a teacher. He was making pretty good money. And he just lived in this crappy house in this crappy part of town. And I'm like, and then he kind of realized, yeah, this guy's life sucks. And if he's got to believe that, he needs something, so he's going to grab for that. Unfortunately, it's a lie. You want a real religion to believe in? Believe in reality. Believe in empiricism. Believe in STEM. Believe in excellence. Believe in your fellow man. Don't go back to points in time where it has nothing to do with you. 5,000 years ago, that wasn't you. 200 years ago, that wasn't you. It's kind of funny. Whites are just, we got a great legacy. Yeah, white people do have a pretty good legacy. But that ain't you. What have you done? You ain't no fucking Thomas Edison. You shouldn't be taking no pride in Tesla. You shouldn't be taking no pride in George Washington. What did you do? See, and that's a fault that everybody has. They go, oh, well, we did this. I said, no. There's no we. You weren't there at World War II, dude. Your grandpa was, but you weren't. Anyway, so I think they're just, it's a false religion that I'd say borderline, I don't want to say cult, group, therapy group, LARPing fantasy type of thing, that gets them by. And consequently deviates them from the real important things in life, and consequently they squander their life. But then again, I could say that's pretty much for all religions. Because I'm still waiting for one of you guys to come up with the real, here's the real one. Yeah, we did the scientific method over here. It's the Mormons. The Mormons were right. It's the Mormons. So this gets to your last question. If so, is the Bible a big lie? It's every religious text is a big lie. Hey, we got the right guy over here. This is the right God. Follow me and give us your money and swear allegiance and tithe. And if you don't, well, you're going to burn in hell. But by the way, we're going to chop your arms off and burn you at the stake if you don't. Because we're going to have punishment now and punishment into the air after. Oh, hey, is that a Jew behind a tree? Let's go kill him because some guy out in the desert who is suffering from heat stroke said to. I don't know. And the Jews, aside from the Old Testament, I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they stand for. But all religious scripts are a lie. They're all lies. And at any point, one of you religious experts can tell me, show me the proof. Show me the money, baby. You show me. And don't do this circular argument. I see this book written 3,000 years ago. It corroborates. And even though 300 years after Jesus died, we finally put together the Bible. And we didn't know if it was monotheism or no. Monophysites. I've been listening to a podcast on the Byzantine Empire, and they're going through, is it the Trinity? Is Jesus God? Is he the Son of God? And then that's how they get the Trinity. Very interesting research. Monophysites. I'll look it up later. Emperor Nero. Zeno and Augustine or something like that. Not Justinian or Justinian or Justin. Anyway, so all religious scripts, all religious texts overall are lies, but it's eerily similar. It's eerily how similar they are. They are books of wisdom. They are books of how to live your life. And so in those regards, like the Ten Commandments, pretty damn good, the Quran, kind of like Leviticus, and I think that's how to, the rules, like how to butcher, what you should and should not do. There's a fair amount of economic, don't take on debt, do not trade with traders outside of the city, stuff like that. This is common sense wisdom that would have helped out a society long ago, and even the wisdom applies certainly to today. How to run a household, who's the head of the household, the wife must submit to the man, a man with a nagging wife is better to live under the corner of a roof, said Solomon. So there's a lot of wisdom that helps societies, cultures, civilizations across the board live, I don't want to say happy and successful life, but less painful ones, in the aim and the hope of increasing your chances of having a successful and happy life. So in that case, your scriptures, regardless of the religion, are not lies. Kill the Jew, do what we say or kill everybody else. The kind of killing if they don't believe what we say. Oh, hey, there's a guy with a pitchfork and he's in the fire and all the revelations. Oh, here comes the apocalypse horseman. Oh, hey, the guy on the wood. Oh, hey, this guy in the desert. The burning bush. Worship us. That's BS. But the wisdom or the advice or the recommendations in these various religious texts, those aren't lies. It's the worship us or die a fiery hell. That is. So, overall, I mean, from an agnostic standpoint, again, waiting for anyone to show me the proof that you have the one true religion. From an agnostic standpoint, they're all wrong. The Hebrew, what is it? I gotta make sure I got the right. The Black Hebrew Israelite. There we go. Israelite. The Black Hebrew Israelite Church. They're just as wrong as the Pope. They're just as misled as the Jews. They're just as delusional as the Muslims. Because you're all wrong. All right? Now, this doesn't mean if I understand the arguments on pretty much every religion. We have to have faith. Okay. Fine, at least you're honest about that. You have no proof, so now we need to have faith. Which one should I have faith in? I say that, well, this guy have faith, Doubting Thomas, the finger in the thing, and the shekels. Like, no, I need a little bit more than that, Doubting Thomas. But from an empiricist point of view, from a logical point of view, they're all wrong. Just because the Black Hebrew Israelite Church is not one of the standard traditional ones, it's just as you can make fun of the Mormons or the Scientology. You can make fun of all of them because they're just as valid as any other religion. So in that case, go ahead. If it helps you get through the day, I mean, there's some good benefit to religion. Like if you follow, thou shalt not kill, okay, cut meat this way, and don't cover your neighbor's wife unless she's really hot. Then you're almost like compelled. It's like, well, how am I not to? What am I supposed to ignore that? Come on. So if you look, religious cultures tend to do better than non-religious ones, pure anarchy, because there's some structures and rule of law. But it's because there's structures and rule of law, not that, we got the right one. He smoted the Babylonians. Jacob trumped his horn and the things fell. He just took over Canaan. Oh my goodness. Jerry Lewis reading the Bible. What is there was the heavens and the earth. Poor guy's dead. He knows what the truth is. Too bad he can't come here and tell us what it is. All right, that's it. That's all we got. You guys got questions, go to AsselConsulting.com. The old captain will give you whatever advice you want in his opinion on obscure sects and religion. We'll talk to you guys later. Toodles.